She did not scream when the slap landed. The sound was sharp, sudden, and loud enough to freeze the entire diner. People turned, forks paused mid-air, coffee cups stopped halfway to lips. The old woman only blinked once. Her hands trembled slightly on the table. At 78 years old, she had learned that pain was quieter than anger. And humiliation, far heavier than bruises. Her name was Margaret Hale, a widow for 11 years. A woman who still wore her wedding ring, because taking it off felt like admitting the world had finally beaten her. She came to this small roadside diner every Thursday afternoon. Same booth by the window. Same cup of weak coffee. Same slice of apple pie, eaten slowly, like time itself had learned to wait with her. That afternoon, rain streaked the glass outside. The diner smelled of grease, sugar, and old memories. Margaret sat alone, hands folded, eyes distant. She wasn't bothering anyone. She never did. Then he arrived. His name was Victor Crane. People in town knew it. They knew his face, his money, his temper. A man built like a wall, voice like a hammer. Owner of half the warehouses by the highway. Sponsor of the mayor's last campaign. The kind of man who walked like the floor owed him respect. He came in loud, laughing, followed by two younger men who smiled too quickly. Victor wanted the booth by the window. Margaret's booth. "Hey, Grandma," he said, standing too close. "You're done here." Margaret looked up slowly. Her voice was soft. "I'm almost finished, sir." Victor smirked. He hated that word, sir. It sounded like defiance wrapped in politeness. "I don't wait," he said. Margaret's hands tightened around her fork. She thought of her husband, gone. Of quiet mornings. Of learning how to be invisible so the world would leave you alone. "I'll just need a minute," she said. That was when Victor lost interest in words. His hand moved fast. Too fast for anyone to stop him. The slap echoed. Margaret's head turned slightly with the force. Her glasses fell to the table. She did not cry out. She did not raise her voice. She simply sat there, stunned, cheeks burning, dignity bleeding in silence. The diner went dead quiet. A waitress gasped. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." But no one moved. Victor stood over her, breathing hard, satisfied. "Learn your place," he said. Margaret slowly reached for her glasses. Her fingers shook now, not from fear, from something deeper, a familiar helplessness. She had lived long enough to know how power worked. It wore expensive watches. It smiled when it hurt people. And it rarely paid for what it did. She could feel eyes on her. Pity, shame, the kind that sticks to you even when you did nothing wrong. She wanted to disappear. Victor turned away, already bored. The booth was his now. Margaret stood carefully. Her knees protested. Her heart felt small. She gathered her purse, nodded once to the waitress, and walked toward the door. Each step felt heavier than the last. Not because of age, but because something precious had cracked inside her. Outside, rain soaked her coat. She didn't notice. She stood under the awning, breathing slowly, counting. 1, 2, 3. Her hand drifted to her chest, to the small chain she wore beneath her sweater. A silver tag, worn smooth. Her son's. She hadn't called him in months. Didn't want to worry him. Didn't want to pull him back from a life she knew was dangerous. A life he had chosen, because protecting others came naturally to him. She had raised him alone after his father died. Taught him kindness. Taught him restraint. Taught him that real strength was quiet. She never told anyone who he was. Not the neighbors. Not the diner staff. Not even her closest friends. Because she was proud, yes. But also because she didn't believe the world cared. Inside the diner, Victor laughed loudly now. Telling a story. Enjoying himself. Margaret closed her eyes. She felt small, old, very alone. But somewhere beneath the sadness, something else stirred. Not anger, not revenge. Hope. Not loud hope. Not dramatic hope. The patient kind. She reached into her purse. Pulled out her phone. Her hands hesitated over the screen. She whispered, "I'm sorry," to no one. Then she pressed call. The line rang once, twice. "Mom." His voice was calm, steady, the same voice that had comforted her when storms rattled the house years ago. "It's me," she said softly. There was a pause. He heard it. He always did. "Are you okay?" Margaret looked back through the diner window. Saw Victor leaning back in her booth. Saw the waitress avoiding his eyes. "I am," she said. And it was true. Mostly. There was an incident, she added. Silence. Not panic. Not anger. Listening. "I don't need you to do anything," she said quickly. "I just wanted to hear your voice." Another pause. "Where are you?" he asked. She told him. "I'll be there," he said. "You don't have to," she said. "I know," he replied. The line went dead. Margaret stood in the rain a moment longer. Then she walked slowly to the bus stop across the street. Sat down. Waited. Inside the diner, Victor's laughter faded when the door opened again. A man stepped inside. He wore civilian clothes. Simple. No insignia. But the way he moved changed the air. Tall. Broad shoulders. Eyes that missed nothing. At his side walked a German shepherd. Calm. Focused. The dog's paws were silent on the tile. Victor glanced up, annoyed. Then frowned. The man did not look at Victor at first. He walked to the counter. Spoke quietly to the waitress. Her face went pale. Then she nodded. The man turned. Now his eyes met Victor's. They held there. Victor felt it. That shift. The sudden realization that the room was no longer his. "What are you staring at?" Victor snapped. The man walked closer. Each step measured. "You struck my mother," he said calmly. Victor laughed once. A short, dismissive sound. "Your mother should learn manners," he said. The man nodded slowly, as if confirming something. "You're very confident," he said. Victor stood up. He was used to men backing down. "You know who I am." Victor growled. "Yes," the man said. "And you don't know who I am." That was when the dog stepped forward. Just a half step. Still silent. Victor's smile faded. The man reached into his jacket. Not for a weapon. For a phone. He placed it on the table. A video played. Security footage. The slap. Clear. Undeniable. Victor's face hardened. "You think that scares me?" he said. The man leaned in slightly. His voice remained even. "No," he said. "This does." He turned the phone. Displayed credentials. Real ones. Victor swallowed. The diner felt very small now. Police sirens approached. Not hurried. Certain. The man straightened. "You humiliated a woman who buried her husband," he said. "You struck someone who never raised her voice. And you did it because you thought no one would answer." The officers entered. Victor protested. Threatened. Named names. No one listened. As they cuffed him, he finally shouted, "Who are you?" The man answered quietly, "I'm her son." Outside, Margaret watched from the bus stop. She saw the flashing lights. Saw Victor led out. Her son crossed the street toward her. Rain soaked his hair. "I told you not to come," she said gently. He smiled softly. "I know." He sat beside her. Didn't hug her right away. Just sat, like he used to when she needed time. After a moment, she leaned into him. "I didn't scream," she said. "I know," he replied. They sat there as the rain fell. Justice did not shout. It did not boast. It arrived quietly, just like her.